Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, we're going to be going into an in-depth spoiler review on Spider-Man No Way Home. And I'm going to be joined by a couple of friends, the Marvel Max, which I not only know personally, but they've also just started their own YouTube channel dedicated to all things Marvel and the MCU. So be sure to go to the link in the description and subscribe to them for more superhero movie stuff in the near future. Now for our thoughts on what is definitely my favorite movie of the year, Spider-Man No Way Home. Alright guys, Spider-Man No Way Home. It's out right now. We've all seen the movie. What did you think of the film, Joey? I'll start with you first.
Man, hit me right in all of the nostalgia, like heartstrings.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was, dude, seeing Willem back as Green Goblin was...
Hell yeah! That's like the main thing I was excited for, is just Willem Dafoe. And he's great too, by the way. The immediate scene that he's in at the beginning where they bring him back is just a stupid laugh on the bridge. Yep. What did you think though, Leslie? What did you think of the movie?
I really liked it. Mm-hmm. We have this conversation so often. I feel I wasn't particularly like blown away at the end of the movie. I don't know.
Okay.
He says maybe I'm still in shock. Who knows?
It was good, but I can agree with you to a degree because it might just be my age. I think the first two Spider-Man movies are just so hard to top. So like, even though this is a really good movie, it's like, yeah, but it's not the first two Spider-Man movies.
Like, I was telling him, I feel like the trailer hyped me up more than the movie.
Oh well, yeah, that's for every movie though. That kind of happens.
Which is kind of funny though, because they didn't release much for this movie.
Right. It was still like, oh my god. I don't know. I just thought that they would do more. Like, I didn't really like how the villains were. They come in, they're evil. Okay, now we're gonna quickly cure you.
Yeah. See, okay. I had this conversation when I saw the movie too. I think there's a missing scene. At least one missing scene, like in between.
Yeah, there's something missing. That's what I was telling you. There's something missing because it didn't.
It's a good movie, but it could have been like an incredibly great. I mean, it's great, but like I get what you're saying. So from here going forward, we're gonna jump into spoilers, and we'll get to what you guys are talking about like later on with the villains. But let's go to the beginning. We start off this movie. Everybody knows who Peter Parker is. We know he's Spider-Man. JJ's doing his Alex Jones thing, which is great. God bless him. So what did you think of the whole, oh my god, everyone knows I'm Spider-Man, my life sucks, and like how they started off?
It was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. The scene where the lady was like, oh, Spider-Man hit me.
Yeah.
She went to go grab him, and he just like brushed off.
Yeah.
Spider-Man hit me.
They're all trying to film him and shit. Like it's pretty good.
And they used the same exact scene from the end of the last Spider-Man movie.
Far From Home.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like how in this one, I guess her name's not Mary Jane, it's Michelle Jones.
Actually, I just found that out in this movie because for the longest time I thought
she was Mary Jane too.
It was Mary Jane. She's like, my name is Michelle Jones. Oh.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just a little weird that I don't get the. Maybe she's an actual character. I don't know, but like, I think it's interesting that with this movie, the beginning starts off with, okay, everybody knows who Spider-Man is. They do this thing where they have this one long shot where they don't cut away at all. Spider-Man is with Aunt May and Happy Hogan, and they're following him around the apartment, and there's like helicopters around the place. And they all find out, he's, the jig is up or whatever. So, okay, this is one thing about Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, which is what we're going to be talking about everybody, but like, have you noticed that he's the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Like he's the least man of like the Spider-Man. Like, yeah, and I get it because he's in high school, but like there's a weird Gen Z like sort of even as awkward as Tobey was still like
his like mature, I don't know, mature kind of vibe.
Yeah, and like I don't know. It's pretty cool to see all three of them together. Well, that's at the end of the movie. But anyways, this is one random thing I'm just going to throw out there. I really wish they were in more of the movie because I really enjoyed. I have never seen the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. Yeah, I've never seen him, but I think he's good. Yeah, see, the same thing. I was like at the combat club, and I like saw it in like a like the corner of the room.
Oh yeah,
I just a fight between him and the lizard. But which, by the way, I'm sure they're good movies. But I grew up on the Tobey Maguire ones.
Yeah.
And I just wish Tobey was in the movie more and Andrew was in the movie more because they're kind of they get introduced like at the end of the second act, which is it's great everything they're in. But I wanted more. Like, that's my big critique with this movie is I wanted more.
Joey, what do you think about that? Because he had a completely different opinion on that.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I think they were introduced at the right time. I mean...
Well, yeah, introduced, sure, but...
Well, no, because you thought they were just going to be like...
Yeah, so my thing, I thought they were just going to be cameos. Like, I thought...
Well, I'm glad that they're not.
Exactly. So I was happy with how it turned out because, I mean... It's crazy that they actually listened to the fans, you know what I mean? Because everybody wanted them in the movie. So my biggest thing was I thought it was going to be like a fleeting cameo, like here's your cameo, everyone.
Yeah, that would suck. But I mean, I'm glad that you are right. They're used in the movie a lot, but like part of me thinks that there should be more. And I guess, well, this is all speculation. Maybe they can reuse those actors for like the Doctor Strange movie that they're doing.
Well, I mean, saw a rumor that Sam Raimi is going to do Andrew Garfield. Going to use Andrew Garfield again for Spider-Man.
Oh, I did not know that.
I just saw the headline last night. I didn't read into it, but this morning he saw it again too.
Because he's amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah. Well, Sam Raimi directed the original Spider-Man trilogy, so I'm like pretty stoked to see what they do. But like, everybody knows who Spider-Man is, and he's worried that they're not going to get into MIT. This is the one thing about the Tom Holland movies. They go for this very 1980s, like, John Hughes romantic comedy feel.
There's actually a thing about that. I was reading up on it. Tom Holland, I think it was, I forgot who, maybe it was Sam Raimi. Like, someone from, the producers or whatever, like, had him sit down and watch all the 1980s movies.
Really?
So that's what they're going for. Yeah, that's what he's wanting to achieve, is to give that like 80s love vibe.
That classic feel.
Yeah.
It works, but it's so different compared to, which I guess is good, but like, there's this whole plot centered around, oh, we didn't get into MIT, I'm so sad, and then he goes to go... Yeah, he goes to go talk to, what is she, the dean or something out on the bridge?
I don't know, we didn't...
Some official, not really sure.
So
at the mixer,
this goes down, and Doc Ock is back, and it's Alfred Molina. It's Doc Ock from the second movie. I love how he immediately starts flinging cars, just like he did in Spider-Man 2. Yeah. What did you think about his return, though? Because they do this thing where it's like, oh, it's his tentacle arms, like, even though we all know, we saw the trailer.
They showed it in the trailer. I squealed.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I think that it's really weird seeing characters from the first three movies that are so grounded in reality, even though they are larger than life. And you've got the MCU is so magical and like far-fetched.
Which is like, they talk about that, all the villains when they're in the chambers, they talk about that. They're like, what do you mean magic's real here? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. My favorite scene with the chamber stuff is where he's like, what is that guy, a tree man? Or like, he's not,
bro, it's a tree. Bro, it's just a tree.
That was great. But
how ridiculous MCU is, though. Because, I mean, we have Groot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
Tree man.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But like, okay, Doc Ock comes, fights Spider-Man. He's like, "You're not Peter Parker," and they figure out that the Green Goblin is also. Which, dude, there were so many times in this movie where I was just going, "Yes, it's that!" Like, and then they cut away, and I'm like, "Damn it!" Like, I wanted so much more. He just comes out, and he's like, I'm like, "That's the freaking Green Goblin." But
go, and then
it is cool. Yeah, it's so quick. But, I mean, the fact that a movie like this even exists is so
Amazing.
crazy, anyways.
One thing
And then
I did want to talk about, sorry, but the whole premise of the movie was just kind of sloppy because Doctor Strange messed up the spell because Peter interrupted him 5-6 times. It's like if he's the greatest sorcerer of all time, like he wouldn't just mess with a spell that powerful. You know what I mean? Like it just.
Now that happens in a lot of MCU movies. They kind of like they introduce a thing and then they kind of go crazy with it, really. But it fits the tone that it's so bonkers. But yeah, he fucked up.
It's so over the top. It's like, bro, you changed it 6 times, and then he blamed Peter immediately. He was like, "You interrupted me." It's like, bro, you're the one casting the spell.
Yeah, you did the spell, bro.
Like, after a 16-year-old comes running to you, like, 17.
That was the other thing. It was hard for me to believe his age because in Captain America: Civil War, which was like 5 years ago, that's when they introduced him, and I forgot about the snap being like 5 years. So I'm like, there's no way he's 7. And then I was like, oh wait, yeah, that's right. But
he got like too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He like faded away. But like, okay, so Doctor Strange screws up the spell. Doc Ock and Green Goblin come through. Probably my favorite part of this movie, I'm not even gonna lie, is they cut to that shot of the mask, the Green Goblin's mask on like the dumpster or whatever, and he's like, a whole new world to conquer. But Willem Dafoe, yeah, Willem Dafoe's doing his whole like no, like, it's just great. The other thing that was really cool about this scene is when he smashes the mask and runs away. It's like a parallel to the scene in Spider-Man 2 where he throws away his outfit in the alleyway and like I'm Spider-Man no more. And there's that shot of the mask and everything in the dumpster. It's pretty cool, but like I really like seeing Willem Dafoe as a good guy in this. And damn it,
really good guy.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy how, I don't know. This is my favorite character in all this shit. It's just the Green Goblin, and even though he's in the movie, would you guys agree he's like the main villain?
Like he's the main antagonist for sure. He kind of has to be because he is like Spider-Man's biggest foe.
Right, and Doc Ock is kind of, he already redeemed himself at the end of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, because they had already shown, like Spider-Man 2 had already shown that he had like a sympathetic side. He had a good side to him, and really the only reason why he turned evil was just because the AI was just fucking with him. And
his wife, was it his wife or girlfriend?
Yeah,
she died.
Yeah, exactly. His wife died. So like, but it had already shown that there was a good side to him.
Which they did Doc Ock great. I loved. We're going to be jumping around here a lot, but when Tobey got to meet back up with Doc Ock, and he's like, just trying to do better. Like that was a good moment.
Yes, you got Doc Ock. He's holding the arc reactor. He's like, the power of the sun. Here comes Tobey in the palm of your hand.
It's pretty cool. I think everything to do with the older cast interacting with each other was just so fun, and like just imagine, like there was one line in the movie that I rolled my eyes at and I was like, this sounds like I wrote it, and it's when they had Willem Dafoe in the chamber or whatever, and he's like, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Bro, I was dying when that post, and it was like there wasn't really much reaction from the crowd besides me.
I laughed.
It was like, whatever.
I was over there sounding like a hyena, and then it's silent.
I think the cool thing about well, like,
are you like,
what did you
at the timing that they brought that in? It was just very random.
It was like it wasn't a big deal, but anybody that pays attention to anything is like, that's the meme. Like that's. But yeah, they utilized Green Goblin and Doc Ock really well. Just the whole scene where Green Goblin's actually working with Tom Holland's Peter Parker and like being a scientist, like, is great. And I don't know, I feel like the actual heart of the movie is the whole MJ Peter storyline, which it's good, but like I told this to my friend Luis, our friend Luis. Like when I saw this movie, I was like, "This is the first movie that makes me feel old," because when Tobey Maguire walked through the
oh my god,
the portal,
he walked through the portal. I was like, damn, he looks old as fuck.
yeah, but I mean, dude, Spider-Man 3 was what, like 14 years ago?
2007?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one came out in 2002, so
20 years ago. Yeah, it's. But he walked through it. I liked how they don't make a big deal about him coming through at first, because it's like, it's almost like that scene where he's at Thanksgiving, where he's like, I had to beat an old lady with a stick to get this cranberries, whatever.
He just looks.
It was fun.
He looks like the youth pastor, as they call him.
And they make that joke.
out of place.
He just looks so awkward.
Yeah.
Like, who is this random guy? And he's like, hey.
He's like, I'm Spider-Man. But yeah, and by the way, as someone that didn't watch the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, he did a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
He's great.
His acting was on point.
Yeah, it kind of made me want. I told him too after the movie was done. I was like, I want to go home and watch the Andrew Garfield ones now.
Yeah, like, and this is, I don't know why I haven't, because the lizard is like right up my alley in terms of like just
Dinosaur.
There's even, yeah, JJ. Who is it? Is it JJ or is it Ned? That's like, was that a dinosaur?
That was Ned.
That was Ned. And then he starts talking. The dinosaur can talk.
Yeah.
You could talk.
Everybody was done well. I think. See, this is the thing too. Is Max Dillon, who's Jamie Foxx, Electro. Oh my God, I want to talk about Sandman.
Yeah.
Too. But like, Electro is apparently like Jim Carrey in Batman Forever in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I haven't seen it, but like, he's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So when Sandman is introduced, he's like, Peter, what the hell is going on? I actually laughed, and nobody else laughed.
Yeah, it was funny the way they introduced him.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Just help me. I'm not your Peter, but help me." What do you mean?
Yeah.
What is it?
I thought it was weird how at first I thought they didn't get the actor back because he's just like, sand the whole movie. And when they reversed him, he's like, oh shit, no, they got him back. Yeah. He looks virtually the same he did
They
2007.
all do, besides
Except Toby.
Toby just looks tired.
Toby just
Willem Dafoe has always looked that old. He's looked that way since like Boondock Saints. And
yeah. He's great. That part at the end where Tom Holland's just punching him in the face and he's got that goblin like smile.
So, dude, he plays the role so well.
Did you think that they killed Spider-Man when he stabbed him at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, what?
Like,
everybody looked at me like, what are you doing?
And then he's like, oh, I've been stabbed before. I'm like, okay, good.
He's back. We got him, boys.
I was really worried that they would like try to pull two Uncle Ben moments because they already killed his aunt and then they're gonna like kill Spider-Man. But no, like I think this movie, the only like critical things I have to say against it is like some of the editing in it seems a little just out of place. Like there's got to be a scene that they cut from the movie in between the scene where the three Spider-Men are talking and he's debating on whether or not he's going to push the button to send them back to their own dimensions or whatever. Okay. I feel like there's a missing scene where they have the villains like all talk to each other, like what their motivations are and how they're going to meet up, because Doc Ock just disappears. I didn't understand why the Sandman joined with Electro and at the end of the
I think because I think Sandman's thing was just
my daughter.
Well, that he wanted to get cured because he wanted to just go back to his daughter, and so I think he joined with Electro because they thought Tom was gonna push the button, and he didn't want the button to be pushed. So that he doesn't go back the same way. Like he wanted to get fixed. So I think that was his thing, because it just kind of shows from the beginning too, and he just keeps saying, "Oh, my daughter," or when they're in the apartment and he's talking with Electro, he's like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you still here?" He's like, I have to go back to my daughter." And he doesn't want to go back to Sandman because
Right, I get that. I did think it was funny though when he actually is like his normal self and he's being like teleported back to his world and he just kind of like, yeah. He's like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, I'm disintegrating.
It didn't make sense though why they teamed up. I don't know, just kind of like sloppy writing, I guess, but because Electro wanted to stay there
For the power.
whereas
Yeah.
Sam just
Well,
wanted
like-
to cure. I don't know, just kind of wonky.
That's-
but
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know if it's the writing or if it's they cut something out. Like that's why I keep saying, because you notice there's some stuff that just I don't think it's like yeah,
It's weird.
that's why this movie's 2.5 hours. It wouldn't shock me if the original cut was like 240 or 245.
So like I was like, this movie was 228 with credits included. Like that's for a movie.
It didn't feel like it though. Yeah. I think the other thing about the movie that's really cool is everything incorporating the Green Goblin being such a mean son of a bitch. Like they nailed the hate like Goblin. They make jokes about the other movies too, like where they're in the lab and Ned asks the other two, he's like, so do you have a best friend in universe? He's like, yep, yeah. He died in my hands.
He's trying to kill me.
we talked about that in our video where I think that's their way of hinting at Hobgoblin, because
I would love Hobgoblin.
I mean, you gotta think how Ned was just like instinctively using the sling ring and like all these different things, so he has like the potential to be something, you know. And the fact that they're kind of teasing it with, you know, I'm not gonna try to kill you, you know.
Right.
I'm a villain. I won't kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, like with the end, when, you know, I know we're kind of jumping around, but
that's good.
When Peter gets wiped from existence, you know, now Ned has no.
Oh yeah, good.
No
point.
connection to Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
So if he is a villain, it'd be like more harsh on Peter.
It's kind of like the perfect setup. Like, oh, everyone from Peter Parker ever existed. He's on his own. He's going to MIT. He's an engineer.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he is. Isn't that odd that guy's the engineer that in an MIT environment? I felt really bad for Peter at the end of the movie, actually, because his Aunt May is dead. Nobody knows. Even Happy Hogan doesn't know he's. And then like the girl he loves doesn't. That's so intimidating too, to have to start over an entire relationship with like two human beings you're so close to. And whether or not it's the right thing to do, because he knows like wherever he goes there's going to be danger. Right. It's like the ending of the original Spider-Man where he's like, remember Mary Jane is at the funeral and you know, he turns her down because ultimately because he likes her, doesn't want her to get freaking killed. Mm-hmm. But this movie was done really well. I just wish there was more. Mm-hmm. Like the conversations between Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were great. They're talking about like, so you don't need web shooters? And he's
that
like,
was
no.
So funny.
Because we talked about that before we went to the movie. Because we rewatched the Tobeys before we went, and
the Tobeys.
Yeah, that's whatever. But we rewatched them, and I was telling her like, yeah, in this movie he shoots them out of his wrist, whereas the other ones like they have to make their own. And I'm so glad they brought that up. I'm like, bro, how do you make it on your own? Like, does it come out of anywhere else?
Yeah, they're like, does it come out anywhere else? That was all good. The popping of the back was also a fun part too.
Oh,
that was another.
Dying laughing.
We died laughing during the movie, and everyone else was dead silent.
I think they did a great job incorporating everybody. Andrew Garfield got a nice arc. Carrying on from the last film where, you know, Gwen Stacy died. So he saved MJ. It's so weird too, like as a Jurassic Park fan, Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3 is Bryce Dallas Howard. That's Claire in the Jurassic World movies.
Yeah.
And her dad in that movie is Benjamin Lockwood, who's in Fallen Kingdom. And I think the Indian I haven't seen the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but the Indian guy in the movie with the lizard, he like runs the new Jurassic World. His name's Simon Masrani. It's kind of weird how they're like pulling all these. I guess it's just because it's a newer movie. I don't expect Tobey Maguire to work at Jurassic Park, so they can't get him there. But what would you say if you had to pick one thing in this movie you wish was done better? What would it be? I think it's a good movie. Nothing can touch the first two for me. Yeah. Like Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, whole other level of like. I don't know, but what do you guys think? Like, what would you change in this? You can't think of anything? Is that good?
No, because I've already said no. I'm having trouble really pinpointing it. I just know, and I just have this strong feeling like it wasn't everything.
I think it's the runtime.
Maybe.
I like for me, which I guess is a good problem to have if you want more, but like for me I just needed more. Like I needed one more scene of Willem Dafoe somewhere in an alley going, "No, I don't want to kill Peter. You're gonna fucking kill him, Norman."
No, I think for me, one that I can pinpoint is I didn't like how quickly they moved on from the multiverse splitting.
At the end of the movie, where Doctor Strange is...
how it was just a small clip, really. But in the trailer, you know, they make it seem like...
Oh, good point.
In the trailer, they make that seem like that's going to be a huge thing of the movie. And then we get to the end, and it's just, they're starting to come through, and I can't hold them back. And then he's just like, oh, well, do the spell to make everyone forget Peter Parker. And it's like, okay, done deal.
Yeah, that seemed like a really quick resolution, especially from the trailer. They've got that shot of like the camera circling the Statue of Liberty, like they're coming through. I was like, who's coming through? Like Miles Morales, Hugh Jackman? Like what's
like, I don't know, just I feel like they could have given us more with that.
Yeah.
To kind of
see, that's what I mentioned. I was confused because you guys have seen the Eternals and I haven't, and that's what I thought that was like the Eternals coming through, but I had no who is it then? Is it Chris Pratt's dad in Guardians of the Galaxy, or like I don't know what that is.
That's his ego.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I know he's dead, but like
but
I couldn't really make out what was actually coming through.
One in the
I couldn't.
He was like a rhino horn, which Andrew mentioned that he had fought a Russian guy in the rhino suit.
Right.
So that's one thing I couldn't really tell though, or unless it was like Loki with his.
Isn't he dead?
No, Loki's not dead.
Did Loki live? I don't remember Endgame.
Well,
I know he's died like 3 times before, and they keep retconning it.
What multiverse, right? Because there's.
Oh, good point.
Splitting the multiverse, but also, we're not. Are we introduced to Loki knowing that he's Peter Parker, not just Spider-Man?
No, that's a good point. I don't know.
Because that's kind of why...
Yeah, that's why they're all coming.
Doctor Strange blamed him again. It was like, they're all coming here because they know you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really quick. And when we saw it the second time, we were trying to make out who was coming through the multiverse, but it's like, just shadow.
You can't tell, can you?
The only thing I noticed was like a rhino horn. Which I would assume is that villain that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was talking about.
Maybe, but like, there's so much. I know a little bit about those movies. I know that they did the whole Harry becoming the new Goblin thing, but they didn't. I don't think they killed him in that universe. So like, maybe that's another one coming through.
Possibly.
But I don't know. Like, overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed all the twists and turns. We haven't even talked about Aunt May's death yet, which got to a lot of people. There is one part about that I don't like. I actually really hate, and it's like 2 seconds. This is such a nitpick, but like where she grabbed a piece of rebar from like the roof, like she's gonna fuck up Willem Dafoe. I was like, girl, you ain't gonna do shit. He's on his fucking glider.
Hey man, that's fight or flight right there.
Yeah.
Do something. What are you gonna do? Just stand there? I mean, well, that's what she did. But
I don't know. Like, it's just kind of weird. But yeah. So she delivers the "with great power comes great responsibility" line.
I think she was about to die, bro.
I did too. I knew she was gonna die.
It went right over my head. But
oh really?
I mean, it went right over my head that she was about to die. But I was like, oh my god, Uncle said that, and then he's like,
yeah,
nope,
don't do it.
By the way, that's so sad. In the original Spider-Man, Uncle Ben's death's like one of the best motivators for like a superhero ever. Like he's just going out for revenge at that moment. Like he wants to kill. Oh, by the way, another thing about this movie. personally, I don't know if it's a critique, but it's just my little thing. I can't take Tom Holland that seriously when he's trying to like be really aggressive. Where he's like, I'm gonna tear him apart.
Yeah.
I'm like, calm down there, buddy.
Like too forced, because we're just kind of put with the playful, like jovial
Right,
Tom Holland.
yeah.
But at the end when he's fighting Goblin one-on-one, that's when
Oh, it's good.
believable.
Yeah.
It was believable.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just it's not him. You know what I mean? Like he's
They're
the
trying to like portray, because we've known Tom Holland Spider-Man to just be this goofy, like
Right.
upbeat kid, playing Spider-Man,
Happy-go-lucky.
and then now we see like, okay, now he's growing up. Now he can actually,
right.
He's seeing that he messed up, that it was, potentially his fault that Aunt May died, and so it's kind of showing that remorse that he's feeling for his actions.
I totally think they're doing this to set up what they did in the first, like the mid-credit scene, where the little part of the symbiote was like left over. So they're gonna do Black Suit Spider-Man. He's gonna be dealing with his problems. We're gonna get music like da 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 da.
Can we just talk about really quick, kind of going back to in the beginning, sort of, because he says it's not a big deal, but like, I am still convinced that when Tom Holland Spider-Man, when he goes out to try to capture Electro or the other villains, he's wearing his black suit.
I thought the same thing. I don't know what that suit is, but it looks just like the black suit.
It's just turned inside out because it's stained.
Like the fact that, he could have done something else. He could have worn something else. I don't know. I really feel, and I'm convinced.
Yeah.
I am convinced that is going to lead to something. I don't know.
Well, maybe.
They designed that suit to look like the. You gotta admit, like that. The people that made the movie were like, oh look, like, there's only one black suit, right? It's the Venom suit. So they made that to like. I mean, I know it's like mechanical and whatever, but I don't know.
Like, I get it. They stained, his suit got stained. In the very beginning, his red and blue suit got stained with that lime yellow, whatever.
Right.
He couldn't get it out, and I get it. Like, he had to turn it inside out, but why is it black? Why is the inside out black? Why couldn't it have been some other color?
Or maybe they did it to kind of set the tone, showing that the movie's going to take a really dark turn, because, I mean, he did lose Aunt May.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be a thing too. I'm
not sure, man. I don't know.
I'm just convinced there's got to be something that's going to play a role later on. I mean, it's left behind. Like, come on.
They treat the Spider-Man suits now like the Iron Man suits, where he's just like wearing a different one like every other scene, which is cool, but it's kind of hard to keep up with like what you're looking at. But I can't get over like how much fun I had with the movie, especially with Doc Ock turning good, because he's like fighting it the whole way. He's like, nah, what are you doing? Nah. And they give him his little chip. Yeah. And he's back to... There's something nice about seeing like someone that, especially Doc Ock, because he's one of those tragic villains. Like he was never evil before his wife died, and like it was really the arms taking over his mind that made him a bad person. Yeah. Like he wasn't a murderer. But even Norman, I felt for Norman, like I wish we got one scene of him talking to Tobey after he turned back. Like after he was cured.
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved to have seen like a Peter, where's Harry or something. Like I just think of what you can do like with stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, but especially because Norman,
especially because Norman always thought of Peter as a son.
He liked him. Yeah. The only thing that he didn't like was the fact that he was fucking Spider-Man.
Exactly.
You piece of shit.
Well, dude, that scene in the scene in the first movie where they're at Thanksgiving, and he's like, "How did you say you got that cut?" And he's like, "Bike messenger, clip me or whatever." And he like has that freak out moment where he realizes that like, it's fucking Spider-Man. But another great part is where he says, "Can the Spider-Men come out and play?"
I was like,
yeah. That's so fun. All in all, they did this movie really well. I personally really like Spider-Man 2. Again, I haven't seen the Andrew Garfield movies. I only saw Spider-Man 3 once, but I want so badly to rewatch it because there's all these memes. Dude, I don't care what anybody says. That dance was funny. In the theater, I laughed.
Bro, it's not a bad movie. It's just not a great movie.
That's a lot. That's most movies.
It is cringy. And I think it's just because Tobey Maguire is just so awkward.
Awkward. But that's what makes it so great.
But it just makes me so cringy.
No.
Like,
I want so bad to go to like a store and then like walk out the doors and like do that little dance, like clap in the air.
You get arrested. You get.
God, I want to watch that actually right now. How would you guys rank this against the other two Tom Holland movies?
This is by far the best.
yeah.
You think so? Yeah. I think the last one they did was pretty good too, but it seems like they get better and better each one, if that makes any sense.
I've seen the second one twice.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time, I can't really remember what all even happened in the movie. Like, that's how, insignificant it is to me.
Well, I like it, but I get what you're saying. A lot of it's...
I don't remember much of it.
I get it. It's probably because Mysterio, like, half the movie's not even really happening anyways. It's like an illusion or, whatever.
None of it's real. It doesn't matter. It's all because...
So...
what's his name? Talos?
Oh, yeah.
It's all because Talos couldn't do his job as Nick Fury.
Oh, yeah.
That's the entire movie.
So, how would you guys rate it? This one, the newest one. Like, out of 5, what would you give it?
Give it a 4.5.
Okay. Joey?
I would say about the same. Because it wasn't perfect,
Yeah, I think...
but it was really good.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Yeah, 4.5 is good. Whereas the original Spider-Man's like a 10 out of 5. Like...
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
But, dude, that movie's so fun. Misery, misery, misery. That's what you've chosen. Like, all that shit. I love it. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much all we have to say, I think. Any other thing you want to add in here before we get out?
I mean, we're going to be talking about the post-credit scenes in our next video.
Which I did not see, by the way, so get ready for that.
Scenes, and then you got the post-credit scenes.
Well, I saw the
post-credit scene with the symbiote.
Well, yes, which, by the way, what a criminal thing that they didn't use Venom to make the Sinister Six. What the fuck? Like, that was such a missed opportunity.
Really, really hoping and expecting for Venom to come back.
I think he will.
Yeah, I think they were trying to avoid what they did in Spider-Man 3, which was overloaded with villains.
Oh.
Because that was a big critique with Spider-Man 3, was just a lot of villains. And
yeah, and the only one they did right was like Sandman, because Venom was done horribly in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just casting. The Topher Grace did not need to be Eddie Brock. They should have been like Brock Lesnar or somebody. But yeah, guys, that's our thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm gonna leave a link in the description to the Marvel Max channel. They've literally just started. Make sure you go there, like and subscribe. They're really into the Marvel comics. They're really into the MCU, and they're good friends of mine. So, with that being said, we'd love to hear what all of your thoughts are in the comments down below.
Appreciate it, Clayton.